What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Chronic Sports video. In today's video, we are going to be ranking every single NFL team's season based off of the expectations that the league and its fans widely had of this team coming into it, and how they finished, whether that was in the regular season or in the postseason, and kind of just the entire encapsulation of their 2025-2026 season as a whole. And make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. Do not forget to comment down below your thoughts on our rankings, and comment down below any changes that you'd make personally to the rankings. Also, don't forget to join our Discord, top link in the description. And without further ado, let's just get right into the tier list. Alright, so first up we have the Arizona Cardinals. What are we thinking for this team?
So it's two thoughts. Some people maybe thought they could be they could be mid or maybe okay, and yeah, they were terrible, and I guess the third overall pick. And yeah, I don't really much more to say other than expectations either met or underwhelming. I'd argue slightly underwhelming, but if you guys feel like expectations were met is fair, then go for it. But yeah, their season was bad. There's not really much more to say. People weren't really high on them. Some people had them as maybe a dark horse, but that's the most you could say about the preseason expectations.
I mean, I'll let Ripcord have the tying vote here because I didn't see any of the Cardinals hype that Aqua saw. I thought they were going to be a bad team, and they were a bad team. And they were also in the best division in football, which makes it a little hard to win. Ripcord, I'll let you have the tie vote between met expectations and underwhelming.
Yeah, I probably go towards met expectations. I get where Aqua's coming from. But yeah, considering they, going into the season, we knew that the Rams were going to be good. The Seahawks were going to be at least competitive, and they were one of the best teams in the league. And then, of course, the Niners were going to be at least competitive, and they still were despite the injuries. Yeah, compared to the fact that the Cardinals just had Kyler Murray coming off injury and had Marvin Harrison, and maybe they could have been something. Yeah, they met expectations in the sense that they probably weren't going to be a competitive team compared to those other three teams in their division and just overall. So I would say they met expectations, but I could see why people would think they'd be underwhelming to a degree. Anyways, next up we have the Atlanta Falcons. What are we thinking for the Falcons here?
A normal person would say underwhelming, or right, but I'll be honest with you, they did exactly what I expected them to, and I probably would have been about underwhelming to off-season champs. They didn't have that winning streak, but yeah, for me personally, they met exactly what I expected them to do, which is maybe kind of be near the playoff mix, but not actually be a playoff team, because the NFL Falcons, they don't ever do anything. They did get eliminated before I thought they would. I thought they would hang around the NFC South race a bit longer though.
Yeah, again, they had 7, 8 wins or whatever it was. Yeah, it's what the Falcons have had for so long now. That's why their coach got fired. So it's just they've had the expectations basically the same for the past 3 seasons. So they met them again. Congratulations. Anyways, next up we have the Baltimore Ravens.
So off-season champs are underwhelming here because they were a lot. It was 80% of people, I swear, were saying this is their team that's going to win the Super Bowl or win the AFC. And injuries were a big factor, but I think objectively, yeah, it is probably off-season champs because they didn't make the playoffs, and they were supposed to be the best team in the AFC. I know, I said, injuries were a big factor in it, but ultimately, let's just be honest, based on where they were expected to do and what they did.
I would consider giving them their own tier for injuries if they didn't lose.
No, there's too many teams we'd have to.
They had enough a juice left in Week 18 to beat the Steelers.
Yeah, the fact that they got back in the division race feels like we can't use injuries as the excuse. I feel like.
Yeah, they're underwhelming.
Yeah, I'd probably say underwhelming, but I understand that people were saying that they had the best roster in the league coming into this season, and that they were supposed to win the bowl. Anyways, next up we have the Buffalo Bills.
What is this, met expectations? They did exactly what they did every year.
Yeah.
I
would
also. You could argue maybe a little bit underwhelming in some aspects, but no, they made it exactly as far as they always do. It's just kind of projection at that point.
Yeah.
If you.
I fully agree with Aqua. They did as they do every year. I mean, it was underwhelming because they had no Mahomes, no Burrow, and no Lamar in the playoffs. and they lost to the Bo Nix Broncos. But it's what they do every year. They always lose to a good defense. So, yeah.
All right, next up we have the Carolina Panthers. Pine, I guess you could get first swing at this one if you want.
Oh God. So it's between the top two tiers that won the Super Bowl for me. The only reason that we can't be expectations destroyed is because we had a losing record, which to be fair was not on us because we got absolutely screwed by the refs in both games. The last two games when we played teams in our division, especially the Bucks game week 18 was some of the worst ref calls I've ever seen. So we should have been like a 10-win team, but because we weren't, I'll say pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I mean, they showed a lot of promise. They managed to win the divisions. So objectively, it's pleasantly surprised. I know a lot of people were kind of having them in the dark horse to win the NFC South, but you could
No.
argue if they would have won the playoff game, I'd probably say destroyed expectations. I feel like they did that.
Mm-hmm.
I will say there's definitely some stuff they could have done better, but ultimately, great success. Good job of the Panthers.
Yeah, I agree. Bryce
Yeah.
Young wasn't outstanding, but he showed promise enough to keep him around for maybe a year or two more. So, pleasantly surprised. Yeah, we'll see how they can continue this kind of momentum into next season. Anyways, next up we have the Chicago Bears.
The very top.
Like, let's get this out of the way. Destroyed expectations. They end up winning a playoff game. That kind of secures it. They beat their division rival in the playoffs. So, yeah, I don't know what else you want. This team was not expected to go to the Super Bowl unless you were a major Bears Glazer. Because, yeah, this in the preseason, I didn't hear a lot of that. I heard people saying this team could be good. And then they were, which is it's been a few seasons in a row where people were saying that, and finally came true. Good job, Ben Johnson. The Bengals, who I don't even think I need to tell you where they're going because this was another team people were thinking maybe had a shot at that Super Bowl again. They did nothing. As there's Joe Burrow being out, sure, to some degree you can blame, but ultimately this defense was horrendous, and it was last year, and nothing got better. And Trey Anderson's probably gone, so I think offseason champs is about one of those teams. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, their defense has no future, and Joe Burrow at some point was thinking about a future without the Bengals, but I guess he's kind of has to ride it out with Jamar Chase and Teague and see how far this offense can take them. It's just this defense I feel bad for. Well, I feel bad for the offense because this defense is terrible, and yeah, they just never seem to be fully healthy. Besides that one Super Bowl run, and it's just kind of the same thing for them every year. It seems like.
Anyway, moving on.
The
Cleveland
Browns
Browns.
expectations met, baby. Let's go. I'll tell you if maybe they got a few more surprise upsets. I'd say pleasantly surprised, but yeah, they did exactly what you'd expect them to do: win a few random games to sheer BS defense and do nothing else. Welcome to Cleveland, baby. Woo! Good job, Myles Garrett, breaking the sack record. That's the only reason you can maybe
Yeah.
argue pleasantly surprised.
I mean,
Anyways, I
you actually could argue pleasantly surprised just because Shedeur won a few games at the end of the year. Obviously, the Dylan Gabriel experience went exactly how everyone thought it was going to go. I'm not sure how literally the entire league, besides Kevin Stefanski, knew that Shedeur was going to be a better quarterback than Gabriel, and here we are, and here everyone was right.
Yeah, you're right. Pro Bowler Shedeur Sanders, and it was gone to the Cowboys.
Sorry. Oh God.
Expectations met, I feel like.
Nah, they didn't make the
This is
playoffs
exactly
and
how-
lose. If they made the playoffs and
No.
lose, that would have been met expectations.
Because like I don't know, personally, that was my expectation for them was to just be kind of a slightly scrappy team that wasn't very good because
Yeah.
of their defense. Because it's literally what they did last season, and then were people really high on the Schottenheimer Cowboys this season? Let's be honest.
I mean, he does seem like a good coach, but the overall,
Yeah, I was just questioning
the overall
but clearly I was a
team,
little wrong there.
the overall
I don't
team
know, up
just,
to you.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I guess. Jared,
Pine,
okay.
you tie break this, Pine. What do you think?
Sorry, I was typing. What is Ripcord? Oh, Dallas. Sorry.
I said met expectations. Ripcord kind of underwhelming. I don't know. This is exactly what I expected. A slightly crappy team.
I would say underwhelming. I also low key forgot the Dallas Cowboys played football this season after they beat the Chiefs, because that game was cool, like the Thanksgiving game. But then after that, did you ever watch anything from the Cowboys after that?
Yeah, Thursday Night Football. It was so fun against the Lions. It was. I had a blast personally.
Oh, did you annihilate them on Thursday Night Football?
Oh
No.
yeah, no, everyone was saying that the Cowboys were gonna beat the Lions because the Cowboys were high after beating the Chiefs and all of that, and then we humbled them because they don't have a defense, as everyone should know. Anyways, let's move on.
Okay, so after that game, did you watch anything Cowboys related after that?
I mean, didn't watch a lot. They did because well, I didn't watch any live games. I watched all the highlights back because I have to. But yeah, they lost to the freaking Giants to end the season. It's hilarious.
How many
Anyways, let's get on.
highlights did you watch last season? Jesus.
Top 10 plays, baby. Woo! Anyways,
You watched
the Broncos.
everything?
I kind of had to. Someone had to figure out what we were putting in the video.
You're going insane. Who's next? Oh,
Broncos.
Broncos. Oh, that's
This
fine.
is the easiest thing ever. Destroyed expectations. They won the division. They made it almost to the Super Bowl. Probably some people would say should have made the Super Bowl with a healthy Bo Nix, but we'll never know. And next season we'll see what happens. But yeah, they won the division. They made it pretty far in the playoffs to beat the Bills. So I don't say that's not expectations destroyed.
You could argue pleasant considering everyone was hyping up their defense, but yeah, I mean, considering they almost made the Super Bowl, probably is expectations destroyed, and also because they clearly won their division and it wasn't really close, to be fair, yeah. So, and well, actually, no, I think it's the fact that they got the 1 seed is the reason why they're in the red tier. So, yeah, that's fair. All
I
right.
agree with Ripcord. The only reason they're not in pleasantly surprised is because they won the entire AFC. Their defense actually because of the crazy hyping up they were getting in the preseason, kind of disappointed a little bit. But their offense turned out to be better than expected. They were still very much defense first team, but the offense was competent. The defense was a little disappointing, but still really good, and they won the AFC. So you can't put them anywhere at the very top.
Disappointing season coming up with the Lions. We got a winning record. That's all I have to say. That's a new franchise record for 4 in a row.
Oh yeah, because the whole NFC North was yelling about how they should have made the playoffs and the Panthers shouldn't have.
I wasn't saying that. You guys won your division. It's fair and square. It's how the rules work. Do I think the Panthers are a better team than the Lions? Doesn't matter. Because it's the more deserving team that deserves to make the playoffs ultimately. That's the way I see it. But regardless, yeah. At least we have a last place schedule this next season, so hopefully we can do something.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys don't go on a crazy run this year, then get your own tier next year.
We'll see. It really depends on what we do with the O-line. But anyways, let's talk about the Packers, which I think is I think it's just my expectations, right?
Yeah.
No, I would say underwhelming.
I feel like you can argue underwhelming because everyone was saying this is going to be the team of the Super Bowl. This team was going to be the Super Bowl after week 2.
Yeah,
I remember that whole stunt.
Yeah.
But it's either met or underwhelming. It cannot be above. Let's be honest, Ripcord. People were saying this team was gonna win the division. This team was gonna win the Super Bowl.
Don't you dare put the Packers next to the Panthers after we beat them, Ripcord. That's not happening.
That's irrelevant for this tier list. But
we can go
cannot be because they didn't do anything this year. They got the 7th seed, and they didn't win every year.
I mean, yeah, Jordan Love Jordan Love led a team that was.
Love was the 3rd best quarterback this season in his division. You are not hyping him up here.
No, I'm not trying to hype up Jordan Love. I'm just saying the Packers. I mean, they were supposed to do a little better considering they drafted Matthew Golden, and then that didn't really work out. I guess you could say, they're underwhelming. Well, no, I if they would have lost that playoff game with Micah Parsons, I think that would have been a little underwhelming, but they didn't have him, so I guess met expectations.
I heard. Right. So, okay, I hear a lot more stuff from Packers fans than most people do, but trust me, it was to the moon. This team was gonna win it all. There's no way this team had any positives from the season in terms of expectations.
People were betting their house on the Eagles and Packers in the NFC Championship and saying the season was over after week 1. And
so if you want to give them a met, that's fine, but I am not allowing anything in the positive category based on what they achieved.
The only reason that talk was silenced so quickly was because of us and because of the fact they lost to the Panthers.
Well, they lost to the Browns.
No, the Browns actually did it first.
They lost the Browns, then they lost the Panthers. All right.
Anyways, let's move on. I don't care enough to talk about the Packers this much. Texans pleasantly surprised or met? It's one of the two. won a playoff game. They didn't win their division, which is the only thing you could say against them in terms of pleasantly surprised. But they went on a big winning streak. They were supposed to like not make playoffs at all because they were like 0-3, and they just won this winning streak. So
Well, if we're doing before, yeah. No, I get what you're saying. That winning streak was
I'm
pretty
just saying
cool.
how their season went though. I'm just saying in terms of expectations, like they kind of did exactly what people thought they were gonna do.
Yeah, the expectations were a lot higher last year because they had that wide receiver core of Diggs, Tank Dell, and Nico Collins. Now this year was completely destroyed, and they only had Nico. Nico didn't really even play a lot. I don't think he played like 11, 12 games, so he was injured a lot. So the Texans did what they needed to do. I mean, they started out 0-3. Everyone thought they were cooked, and then they went on that winning streak, and they had, arguably the best defense in the league throughout that time, and they won that playoff game, so hats off to them, even though it was against a crutched Steelers team. But I would say coming into the season, yeah, they met expectations. Like, they were supposed to be a pretty decent team, maybe an underdog, and they kind of were an underdog to a degree, so yeah, it's just, if CJ Stroud wasn't hyped up super much, but now everyone hates him, so it's just kind of met expectations. Like they're one of those teams that's gonna always be borderline playoffs, borderline not, and then from there it's like whatever can happen if they get in the playoffs. So yeah, I would say in the middle was fine for them. We have the Colts.
It's gonna be weird, but I feel like pleasantly surprised still because they got 8 wins. A lot of people were saying this is a 4-win team max. At the start of the season.
Yeah, they had the best offense. Like they had one of the best offenses of all time.
Yeah,
for
it
the
was
first 8
historically
weeks.
good, and then until it wasn't. It was
Yeah.
basically until Daniel Jones started getting hurt, and then Jonathan Taylor did nothing because he didn't have a pass game.
Yeah,
but regardless, the way they got there is like you want to say underwhelming, but like no, you got to remember that what this team was expected to be at the start of the season. So
yeah, they had 2 potentially comeback player of the year level players in Phil Rivers and Daniel Jones. So
I gotta keep in mind, people were saying Daniel Jones was a starting quarterback was gonna be like the worst thing ever. So yeah, they did good. Next up,
all right, we got the Jaguars.
I feel like this is pretty obvious. Fine, go for it, I guess.
I mean, I would personally put them above the Broncos at least. You can argue the Bears. I would personally say Jacksonville, but this team was coming off of 2 seasons of off-season champs where they were expected to be good and they were absolutely terrible. So despite the roster having
they weren't terrible in 2023, but they went 9-8 in 2023.
They were still disappointing. Like, especially Trevor Lawrence, they were like, that team was just very disappointing compared to what expectations had them as. So because of a really bad last season and because of their reputation of disappointing,
I'd say below the Bears because they didn't win a playoff game, but
yeah, they were expected to like lose the division and only have not that many, like 6 wins. But they won the division. Trevor Lawrence finally took the step forward that we all knew.
We'll see. You can't say that it's fully done until we've seen at least a little longer of him because Jordan Love did this exact thing, and everyone was saying he was going to be a top 5 quarterback after that. So you gotta wait for your crying people.
I mean that is fair, but yeah.
All right, what we got next? Ripcord, you can take the lead on this one. Oh, have fun.
We have the Chiefs. They're one of these two. I don't know. I guess
I feel like it's still off-season champs. They were eliminated before Mahomes got injured, so we can't even use that as an excuse.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
A lot went on there. Anyways, next up we have the Los Angeles Chargers, who I think probably people hyped up the Chargers.
I don't think they can
it's met expectations. They made the playoffs.
Expectations, yeah.
Did anyone really expect Justin Herbert to actually do anything in the playoffs? Let's be honest.
No, here's the thing is I want Jim Harbaugh to succeed. It's just that he has the most what-if quarterback in the league, and I feel bad for him. That's
hypothetical MVP Justin Herbert to you.
Yeah. No, really.
Like,
I mean,
in Justin Herbert's dreams, they're in a Super Bowl. So hypothetically, they had a good season. But this is not a hypothetical tier list.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, who's next?
The Rams.
Los Angeles Rams.
Met expectations. Because
I think this
exactly
is
as expected. I mean, other than you can maybe say pleasantly surprised if you consider the fact that Stafford got the MVP. I will say wasn't exactly an
And yeah,
MVP.
and
But
Stafford was having injury issues in the offseason too. So
Yeah, he was
but
supposed to have
also
back problem.
since week 5, everyone was saying this team's gonna win the Super Bowl. This team's gonna win the Super Bowl. This team's gonna win the Super Bowl.
yeah,
Yeah, like I said, it's just the MVP. That's the
So
only
like,
reason I would say maybe pleasantly surprised. But yeah, it's about what we expected.
I don't think they get to be on the same tier as the Panthers and Colts if they didn't win the Super Bowl and they were expected to be really good. Like, Devontae Adams going to this team changed everyone's expectations of it. Ripcord, we all know where they're going. You don't have to do that.
I mean, yeah,
Alright.
you could just
Yeah,
argue that the amount of touchdowns that Stafford was throwing and that Devontae was catching could put them in pleasantly surprised because Devontae led the league in touchdowns, which no one saw coming, and Matthew Stafford.
Not people saw that coming.
I mean, not. I mean, you probably would have guessed somebody like St. Brown or AJ Brown or someone like that, but I don't know. Stafford at one point had 32 touchdowns and like 2 interceptions, so that is a little surprising. Anyways,
And then the Falcons game happened. Oh god. Underwhelming, I guess. Like, this is the worst version of Tua we've ever seen. This is one of the worst quarterbacks we've ever seen on a football field, Tua.
I saw it coming, but like I couldn't just stand under.
Yeah, we saw it coming, but Dolphins fans didn't. So that's why they underwhelming.
yeah, the whole Tyreek Hill thing, I didn't see that coming, but I did see a regression coming, and the regression was
the injury,
happening.
no, obviously not.
Yeah, no, the regression of him and his effectiveness in that offense, and everyone's effectiveness besides Achan's, even Waddle's effectiveness. I kind of saw the regression of it. And Tua, I saw the regression of to a degree, not to the degree that it happened to where he probably will never start ever again. That's crazy. And it happened, but yeah, I guess underwhelming because they should have had one of the better offenses in the league with all that talent. It's just, it fell apart piece by piece. And then McDaniel was fired and that whole thing happened. So yeah, I think that's fair. Vikings.
I think this one's underwhelming because people were saying this team should be a playoff team, that JJ McCarthy was going to be able to be as good as, if not better than Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. That did not happen.
If JJ was half of what Darnold was, they would have been a playoff team. I mean, they literally they tied you guys and they went 9-8.
Yeah, it's literally one more win would have given them a playoff spot over the Packers. Granted, the Packers were resting their starters in Week 18, but like you get the point.
That shows you how.
Yeah,
no, that shows you how good of a.
Even with some luck, Vikings always feel like they always get a little lucky, and even then they still didn't make.
Yeah, I mean, no, the Vikings are definitely one of the luckier franchises, especially in recent years with Kirk and Case Keenum that one year. So yeah, I can say, and Sam Darnold last year, you could say it was a little lucky too. It's just their defense was so good this year. I mean, considering it's kind of like the Browns, but the Vikings actually won some games because their defense was dominant. And you have Justin Jefferson in his prime, so it is pretty underwhelming considering you have arguably the best wide receiver in football in his prime, and you're doing really nothing with him. So yeah, pretty sad to see. And just pretty underwhelming all around. Patriots, I feel like this one's the easiest one. Expectations destroyed.
No, we could have a debate here.
Do you want to order it in that tier, Ripcord? Because I would definitely have them above the Broncos.
Well, they have to be the number one because they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so they had a worse win total than the Bears last season. They made it to the Super Bowl. It's not even a question.
Yeah, that's fair.
Saints, I would say pleasantly surprised.
I hate them. That's.
I would agree, pleasantly surprised as well.
Shuck was a pleasantly surprising dog of a quarterback when he started playing. All right. Giants.
New York Giants. Underwhelming.
I want to put them in pleasantly surprised because they started off the season pleasantly surprising, but then everyone on that team just got injured.
They weren't even good at tanking at the end of the season. It's the funny part. They had the first overall pick basically lock and key, and they found a way to give it up.
Because Jackson darts like an idiot.
I agree they can go in pleasantly surprised because Dart turned out to be the best quarterback in this class.
Doesn't matter. I mean, they were expected to do anything. They didn't do anything. They choked away more games than I could count. It's crazy.
You cannot say pleasantly surprised to be in those games.
Scatterboo was good.
To win more than 3 games. Or
Oh.
like 4 games. My bad.
Abdul Carter was pleasantly, surprisingly not good-ish. So, I mean, I
Ripcord,
don't
you're
know.
not helping our case here.
I mean, I
I will
don't know.
concede met expectations. I will concede met expectations.
I will say met expectations because Ripcord reminded me they played defense this year and their defense was expected to be good. Their defense was anything but good.
All right, they have one of the worst secondaries in the league. So,
Let's just get this sim to the next season. I mean, let's talk about the Jets.
I don't want to talk about the Jets. They're the Jets. They met expectations of the Jets. The Jets are the Jets of the Jets of the Jets.
You could argue not recording an interception could put them underwhelming, but yeah, everyone thought they were going to be terrible.
I would.
Eagles. This is definitely underwhelming. I don't care. They came off a Super Bowl and they did nothing and they lost to the most injured team in football.
And now they're about to lose
They lost
their
to the
best wide
New York
receiver.
Giants as well.
And also, this is the most unwatchable team of all time. I hated watching Eagles highlights the entire season. I do not care. I'm not putting them in.
Their offense was
Steelers. Ever heard of met expectations? The team, baby. Let's go 9-8 Super Bowl.
49ers. You should. I feel like pleasantly surprised works, considering. Okay, well, no, I mean not really. Because everyone
factor the injuries into this. Like, if you told someone before this season that this team was going to be the most injured team in the league again, and every major player on their team would be injured for at least like 5 games, no one would think that they'd not only get to the playoffs but win a playoff game. So I would think they have to be pleasantly surprised.
But that was Orta's head-to-head base, so we got to put the Niners ahead of the Panthers and the Saints. But I'm kidding.
No, they could go above the Saints.
I'm joking.
Below the Colts, I think.
Anyways, I'm memeing. Anyways, let's move on to the next one.
All right, we have the Seahawks.
Seahawks. I wonder where we're gonna put
them. Bucks.
Underwhelming. Our off-season chance. Probably underwhelming. Just underwhelming though.
Yeah, that's fair. They just slowly started to get worse and worse as the injuries piled up. But then when players got back, they just couldn't do it. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why Mike Evans could leave. It's just because they weren't able to do it even when people were healthy.
Okay,
but it actually got worse when people were healthy. Actually,
yeah.
This team got worse when not only did they get worse when their players were healthy. Look back at the early part of the season when they were 7-1. Look how many close games they won. This team was
no, they were 5-1, not 7-1. That was the Colts that did that.
Sorry, 5-1, whatever they were. Look at how many close games they won. They were not a team that was blowing teams out. They were a team that was fraudulent as heck and showed who they really were. So after last year, when they almost beat the Washington Commanders, who made it to the NFC Championship, they were expected to take a big leap and be a contender.
They got steamrolled. The Commanders got steamrolled, so I feel like that's not saying much.
Yeah, I would consider them for offseason champs. They could be the top.
I don't know. I feel like honestly, I don't think they had any Super Bowl expectations. So it's my problem.
Yeah,
they had NFC Championship game expectations.
Yeah, it was a dark horse.
In the NFC,
they were dark horse at most. It's like they had like the same expectations as the Vikings.
They were the dark horse for the NFC. It's just Baker's. You never know what Baker you're gonna get. That's the problem. That's why you can't say a Baker-led Super Bowl team is going to, or a Baker-led team is going to win the Super Bowl, because it's like you never know what Baker you're gonna get. That was the same problem with Darnold, was people didn't know where the Seahawks were gonna do because you don't know what Darnold you're gonna get. Anyways, we have the Tennessee Titans.
Expectations. They were terrible.
Yeah.
They were arguably the worst team of football I've ever seen for like half the season.
They were
with Brian Callahan.
They were really bad. Yep. Really bad. And then underwhelming last team, we have the Washington Commanders.
You could argue off-season chance, but I'm going to just go underwhelming. I don't know. I saw this coming a mile away. But
I saw this coming too.
We're going to win the Super Bowl.
Dude, their offense genuinely was made out of skeletons last year. They actually had no one on offense. They had Brian Robinson as their running back.
You're talking about their offense?
Austin
Eckler.
Dude, they genuinely had nobody. They had the ghost of Zach Ertz last year, Olamide Zaccheaus, Austin Eckler, Brian Robinson, two guys who are basically out of the league now. Terry McLaurin is the only good player on their offense. Only good player, actually.
Yeah, in the offseason, that happened.
Yeah, Brian Robinson wasn't even on their team, Ripcord.
Yeah, your court's bringing up last year how lucky this team got.
No, that's what I'm
This team
saying.
was
Yeah.
Last year they were so lucky because their offense was made up of a
this was
bunch
like
of
actually the
fraudulent
luckiest team in
players.
NFL history, not named the Chiefs.
No,
It's like actually crazy.
No, genuinely, it was literally Jaden McDaniels and Terry McLaurin, the only two serviceable players on that offense. Zach Ertz's leg literally turned into spaghetti. It literally became a noodle, bro, this year. That's why he's gonna retire.
I don't want to talk about last season, dude. I still don't know how we managed to lose in that fashion. I knew we were gonna probably lose to the Eagles because of injuries, but like, yeah, the freaking plot armor on the
No,
Commanders.
that's the thing is I feel bad for the Lions because it literally was just, it wasn't even the Commanders as a team. It was the fact that you guys had key players injured, but not even that, because like a team like the Lions should have overcame that. It's literally just the momentum that the Commanders took into that game. They had the most insane momentum I've ever seen in my life. Like, they actually had the craziest momentum ever. Like, one of the craziest playoff run momentums ever, where they literally just started killing teams at the end of the season, including you guys, sadly. Like, it was bad, bro.
If I had a nickel for every time a team led by a 2024 star quarterback made it way further than they should have in the playoffs because of momentum and a bit of luck, I would have 2 nickels.
Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this tier list. Make sure to like and subscribe down below. Make sure to join our Discord. Top link in the description as always. And do not forget to comment down below your thoughts on this final ranking. As you can see, it goes from won the Super Bowl, expectations destroyed, pleasantly surprised, met expectations, underwhelming, and off-season champs. Those are the rankings that we have made for this tier list. And if you guys want, I will link the tier list down below so you guys can rank the same teams and make up your own tiers, or keep the same tiers that we had and, you know, just, I don't know, like screenshot it and send it to us on Discord or something like that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Bye.